Hata nianze sasa hivi. Wewe unatetemesha.
We, si sorry bas.
Si umesikia?
Si ni kiti. Si ni kiti.
Uplema.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode. This is Just Not Career Podcast with Nancy Gitonga, and today I have very good friends of mine. They'll introduce themselves and also say what they do. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for having us. Okay, hi guys. My name is Lilian Kimando. I am in digital transformation, commonly known as product management in other companies. We basically do almost the same thing. And I've been at it for the last 3 years now. Before that I was deep in IT. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Atemi and I'm in social impact, and I've also been doing social impact for the last 3 years, and I think it's a growing field, and I'm really hoping to be as engaging as possible throughout this discussion.
You will be in a few seconds. But anyway, welcome guys. So today's episode is slightly different from what I do. So in other episodes we talk about career journeys and your trajectory within the different fields that you've been. But since this month was Women's Day, I wanted it to be focused solely on women's and basically now our mothers and how they've helped us in our career transitions and basically what they did for us. But before we go there, the first question I will ask is, during Women's Day, what was that peculiar thing that you did, and basically how was it on that day?
Okay. I was in a Toastmasters meeting. We had the area contest. These are like competitions at a higher level. We spent the day with other women, and the men celebrated us. We rose flowers. Then after that I went and did my nails to celebrate International Women's Day.
Great. For me, I think besides social impact, I believe Lilian and also Nancy also aware many things besides that. But on that day, I was actively involved in women's sports, specifically rugby. There was a ladies rugby tournament that was happening, and it was generally to celebrate Women's Day and to actually just celebrate some of the physical things that women can actually do that the world never really pays attention to as much. So it was more or less a sports focused day, but factoring more energy on how well women can actually play sports.
Okay, that's great. For me, I don't think I did anything very peculiar on that day. I think I worked. In the office, we were forced to do purple, and I discovered I did have purple until when I saw a white striped shirt. But basically, yeah, it's nothing very fancy about it. But it was, I think it was on a Wednesday. So Women's Day was on a Saturday.
Yeah, it was Saturday.
Yeah. Okay, for me, I didn't do anything peculiar. Yeah. So getting into the episode, you can discuss about the advice or a piece of advice that your mother told you, or even you can still remember when making your career decisions. Yeah, and how it impacted your career decisions. Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with myself, and I think if I'm to think of my mom, having worked for a certain period of time until the point where she had to stop working because of a sudden retrenchment that happened. One of the biggest career advice was to diversify myself, like not to just be focused on one thing, because she was a secretary, and I think due to financial constraints and life, she didn't really get to develop herself academically and get more academic accolades to allow her to progress as much in her academics. But her biggest advice is always for me to always add into my basket if it is an academic progression, so that I can actually move to the next step of my career, which is to move to the managerial level, move to the point of director level. She ensures that I don't limit myself on any grounds at all.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. I feel like we are sharing the same script with Atemi, that even though my mother did not have the opportunity opportunity to advance her education. She's secretary by profession. Those days, when they did secretariat courses, almost every woman was a secretary. The one thing that she insisted is go back to school, keep adding on your skills. That's one thing that I really remember. She advised me, and even when I was going through some very difficult moments in my career, she also used her own examples. The things that we could not see when we were young, but she got the opportunity to share, like, struggles will be there, but you have to keep on keeping on. Life is not a flat line. That's true. Yes,
I know. I think what I hear mostly is like how she used to be very positive when I was feeling like this one I just want to leave. I want to raise my hands and say, you know what, it's not working. So she was like, no, we'll pray about it and then you'll see positive things working. And it has pushed me through. I think even now, with the career that I have, that basically she does not understand what I do, but she knows I'm in an organization that has microfinance, and she was like, "Can I tell my women to come and borrow money?" I'm like, "No." But those positive words still linger on and say that don't worry, things will become better. And sure, with where we are right now, things have become better. Moving on, can you share a time when your mother believed in you more than you believed in yourself? And how did that change things for you?
In my career or generally in life?
Both in your career and even in life.
Okay. Most of all, I just say my mother always believes in me. I think it's a thing she has, and I want to take pride in the fact that she's very invested in wanting to know that I'm doing well in everything that I'm doing, and she always has that. She's invested in everything that I'm doing. So one of the key things, I think, outside work, again, I mentioned I'm a rugby player, which is not a common thing for women to do. It's very rare to actually just meet a woman who plays rugby on the street. And and I think remembering the first time I joined rugby, my dad and girls doing that was almost impossible. So for him was it wouldn't work. But I think as I continued playing, I always remember my mom helping me. Then I was really overweight, so the fitness and everything was such a struggle. So I would actually get home and I'm very broken, like pieces are very tired, broken. And remembering that time I had school assignments, I had so many things happening. So keeping up with that work, having to stay late, sometimes being unable to eat. I remember so many times she would wait till late, she'd even doze off on a seat, coming back to just check if I switched off the lights and I put my laptop off, doing my assignments. And the next morning she'd remember, Kesho, I know you'll be tired, but make sure you do this. I know it's exhausting, but jikaze tu, that idea of jikaze tu, you're doing something that is out of the normal. So just knowing that she had my back through all this period, I think is the reason why I kept doing what I was doing. And then in my career at some point, I was working in an organization that was a bit unstable, and I wasn't really sure if I was able to secure a job after that or within that period. So in between, I think, let's just call it a miracle. I had a very bad argument with my dad, who at that point was not understanding what it is I'm waking up every morning to go and do and bring back nothing at home. And I left home and I was very annoyed. So I was living by myself. I was very unsure if I'll even have rent for the next month. And my mom called me later, and I think my mom is special because my dad would be very annoyed about something, but her she always find a way to just laugh about it and say, when you baba yako just move. But she said, I know your dad maybe may not be understanding what you're trying to tell him, but just know you're working, you're doing something. Eventually when it pays off, he's going to see. And I think over time, through that, eventually a job came up, and even my relationship with my dad changed. And I think that's the point now my mom came and told him, now that you've seen something has worked out, is maybe now you'll appreciate what she was trying to tell you at some point. So for me, that was a very big thing from her, and I really appreciate it till this point of my career.
The power of women. Sometimes it's silent, but very powerful. I think what came to my mind when you asked this question is, first of all, I can't remember living with my mother. Only the formative years, like primary school, then high school was boarding. Immediately after high school, I went to college. After college, I got a job. So I've never staying with my mom to like have this. It is visiting basis, yeah. And but I've remembered growing up, my mom was always volunteering me to do stuff. Even in church, when we have I have an Anglican background, we have brigade. And she was always volunteering me, like when we have the children's prayer day, I'm the one to pray. And I found myself in a lot of leadership positions, courtesy of her push, because she believed in my capabilities. Same as my dad, but you know, my mother is the one with the network in church. Yeah, so that is one way that she has really pushed me, even when I could not see the opportunities. But I would just like to share another one that is really close to my heart. When I became a mother and I got a preemie baby, and the baby was so tiny, she was 2 kgs. Like a packet of bunga. I could not for the life of me even wash that child. Like every time I would think about her, I think she was sleep. Yeah. And my mom cleaned that baby. It was during COVID, a time like this, and she cleaned her for a whole 3 months. I never touched her and fed her. Yeah, when I was breaking down because this motherhood thing, I didn't sign up for it. She's like, you will make it. Yeah. And now here we are, we're almost turning 5 years. Yeah, so I appreciate that she believed in my motherhood capacity, even when I didn't see it. Yes.
Yeah, I think for me, I can share maybe 2. The first one, I think we talked about it earlier, was when I was in uni, during second year. I still have these kind of issues, but I think there was a point where we were told you should not talk about your anxiety. But for me, it used to make me forget. Like, we'll let it to an example. Whatever I read, evaporates. But ask me the same questions, 3 weeks even, I will remember everything. And at that point, I wanted to give up. I told my mom, see, because I was called again in the same university for the same course. Why can't I just stop this for self-sponsored program? I still do the same thing. But she was like, no, don't worry, you work on it. Things will come in the right way, and you'll see what I'm saying. And truth to it, immediately I finished campus after maybe 5 months, I got an internship with my former job, and now it progressed to now a 7-year career. Out of which I felt like I'm failing. At that point also I had friends who were really doing really well. I'm talking about, like, I used to have friends who are doing basically they got first class. Yeah. Like when you're looking at their transcript of getting A's, you're like, what is happening? Yeah, but I came to realize later is when I started overthinking and failing was the inevitable. Now the other one that now I remember from a younger age, she knew that I like running, and she came for all my sports day kind of things till Form 4, because that was the only thing that used to give me peace. Even during KCSE, when I used to feel like, hey, for tomorrow I'm not okay for this. Yeah, I used to go take a basketball, play, or run around the field, and then I go read. And for sure, it worked out. So she thought that I can become a runner. So when I finished Form 4, she made me sign up for those running Yes. Like, she was so determined. My child can be a runner.
Go bring the millions.
Yes, so I go bring the millions. And my dad was like, by that I finished Form 4 when I was 17. So she's like, my dad was like, no, I think she's too young to go outside the country and do this. But my mom was so determined. But now, since my dad said no, I stopped running completely. So my whole 4 years in campus, I never went to the field for anything. Yeah. So once I finished and now joined the workforce, and of course my former job used to have this marathon. I used to run and volunteer. And every time my mom during those marathons, she used to call me, are you running today? Make sure you become number 1. I'm just like, I can't do like our champions. Yeah. Even if I practice, there's no way even for 10K I will run less than 30 minutes. Yeah, so I'm not equipped. But she believed in me. Even these days when I tell her I'm going to run, she's like, okay, you go run. But it's the belief in me that I did not believe in myself. Yeah, and I see it on a daily basis. We're almost at the end, and I would like to ask if you could have one more heart-to-heart conversation with your mom about your career, about your life, what will you tell her or ask her? Yeah, heart-to-heart, remember, heart-to-heart.
Okay, I'll let Lilian take that one.
I was hoping that you'd take the question. Oh my god. Aish. Heart to heart. I wish she was able to share her career journey, because back then we had so many, almost every home had a secretary. Yeah, a lady who had gone to the secretariat in those typing. Yeah. And I would want to know whether, like, getting married, is it the reason why she did not advance? What really happened? Does she have the desire, like, to want to advance? She's old now. Like, I would just want to have a conversation around her career, because it's something we've never done, and also for her to understand my career journey, because, well, she knows I'm in IT, but clearly she doesn't know what I do. Yeah, the specifics, and I think it doesn't bother her.
Yeah.
You're able to take care of your family. The one person who is very interested in what I do is my grandfather. He's the one who really asks the question, exactly what you do. So I'd want to know how, just her career journey, if the things she wanted to do, she didn't do them, and does she have regrets and things like that. In life, heart to heart, women conversations, which sometimes when you talk about them, we cringe even with our own friends, especially the conversation you started talking about menopause, and it is here. Because I attempted, once I joined that circle and saw what women are going through, I just wanted to understand, are you going through the same things? But because of the way we've been raised, these are not conversations to have with your children. So I wish I could be able to just understand and know her journey, if she's actually going through some of the symptoms I'm seeing with women in the menopausal
I made her join that.
but
But she doesn't read. That's the sad
but
part. I think she has so many groups that she doesn't.
like, what are you guys discussing? She found, I could see her facial expression. She's like, I'm not willing to discuss these things. Yeah, I wish they could listen up
To discuss them.
Yeah, because I hear.
Yeah.
But that informs me how I would want to handle these conversations with my daughter. Yes.
I think first of all, I just highlight that of all the strong women I know, I think my mom is the strongest person I know. Physically, mentally, emotionally. To the point where we really joke about it, on how even when you give her gifts, she's not very emotional about it. She's like, how are you too? She's happy about it, but whatever. Yeah, you know what, whatever. But then I think I keep telling people my biggest fear in life is to be unable to meet the levels of strength that my mother has. And that's because I've grown up watching her hold so many people together. She's been solving so many things. It's like she's the brain power to so many things. And at this point in time, I think the one heart-to-heart conversation I'd want to have, because I know at this point in time in her life, maybe she's afraid, or because she's having some health issues, and she's probably afraid of what next. Like, she really feels that if I'm to go, not be there, what happens to this situation? What happens to this situation? Because again, actually, she holds so many things together.
Yeah.
And I think even my dad is very dysfunctional without my mother. That's the truth. If my mother is unwell, we have to see people.
Yeah.
Because he functions around how she operates. And there's so many things my mom would do, and you know very well this is her brain, but she'll only let other people take the credit. She's not the type to hog on credit. So I think my biggest heart-to-heart with her is to ask her how she's been able to do that and still remain happy, remain peaceful, not hold any grudges against people. And when you meet unhealthy people, she just has a way to, let's move on, let's just, I think that's one thing I need to borrow from her, that I don't have to fight.
Yeah.
I don't have to be mad or annoyed. Oh my god, I feel crying when I think about it. But yeah, like that's the main thing.
Yeah. So for me, I think seeing her in her maybe 63 years of life, juggling one type of job but with very many people, because she's a teacher and she's taught people who are older than me, right? And you can see her joy, like when people call her, I'm like, oh, I'm not in Eldoret, can I come? I buy you lunch or tea, you know. At times I see on her WhatsApp messages kids who maybe she gave them half school fees for them to pay, because you know they from South Sudan and stuff, and you can see like she really wants to go out of herself, not because she knows that there's something that is coming back, because her she believes in sacrifice more than I believe in sacrifice. So it's just having that heart. I don't think I still have that heart yet. Knowing that also someone like me, it's not like I was always an angel. I don't think I'm even an angel at this point, but her accepting people with the flaws and trying to understand people, it's something that I can say I can borrow from her, including patience, because that one is I've never learned patience. But for her, when you see how she talks and try to reason, because I think I was telling someone that for me, my family, everyone has their own personality, but somehow my mom knows how to get
handle everyone.
Yeah. It's so unbelievable, and for me I don't have that patience. Like I feel like, you know, so that is one thing I really I'm not like I can't deal with this cutting off people. Her she doesn't know cutting off people, and something that now I think it came about with our generation. If someone does this,
just cut them off. Yeah, that's true.
For her, she has that spirit of forgiveness and trying to work on people and trying to reach out until when it is done.
Yeah.
So that is a few things that I want to learn from her. And I think with that, you're almost at the end. And you said you are Toastmasters, so you can welcome people to your Toastmasters, and then for you can.
I can welcome
women
to come and play rugby.
Exactly, and watch you
and
support.
Ideally, I want more women to play rugby because physical sports help you build resilience in ways you never knew.
Yeah.
So think about it. Tell your children, bring your children. Yes.
Toastmasters for me is an investment to self, because we spend so many hours in the office doing many things for other people. If you're not in the office, you're giving back to the family. So Toastmasters is where I go to refuel myself. I get to learn, upskill, and just be with people who are like-minded. And I would like to welcome you, to invite you to any Toastmasters club. We are worldwide. You can find a Toastmasters club wherever you are. It is for public speaking, communication, and leadership skills. Yeah, so if you know someone who is struggling with communication or public speaking, or they just want to connect with like-minded people or network, because you'll find so many networks in Toastmasters, you're welcome. Or you can reach out to Nancy, she will let me know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
And for you, what is your team?
My team? Oh, I play for the Northern Suburbs ladies. They train at KCB Sports Club. They're more or less the women's team of the KCB group, not necessarily recognized by the bank. But yeah, it's, if you feel like you can get physical, you can play rugby, please join. If you also have children who you feel they need to learn a sport discipline, they need to believe in themselves a bit more, especially girls who are having issues with body image, rugby is a very inclusive sport. Please bring them over. Let Nancy know, send them over to me. I coach girls from the age of 7. Yes.
2 years to go, and then they'll join me. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. And with that, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. We are available in all platforms, on TikTok, IG, and Twitter. Bye.
Bye.